it's weird that I would be doing a speech on divorce since my parents have been married for almost 25 years, but it can affect anyone. Divorce is a topic that no one wants to talk about, but it needs to be talked about due to the fact that the United States has the highest divorce rate in the world. Today I will be giving you information on how children are affected based on gender and age, long-term versus short-term effects, and how they are affected mentally and how this will affect their behavior. First, I will begin talking about age and gender. According to Dr. Juan K. Brown's book, Effects of Divorce on Children, more than half of children involved in divorce are under the age of 18. 7 to 12-year-olds are more likely to feel rejected and abandoned. The younger the child is, the more affected they are for the short term rather than the long term, due to the fact that they don't understand or have been in a relationship situation. As one of my sources, I decided to interview a friend of mine, Laurel Augustine, to get a little bit more insight on divorce since I have never been through one myself. To begin the interview, I got some background information on Laurel. She first started with telling me that she was in 3rd grade when her parents got the initial divorce, but they had been separated since she was an infant. The first question I asked her is if she understood what was happening during the divorce. She stated that she didn't initially at first, but it became more known as time went on. No matter the age of the child, they will have a hard time keeping and maintaining relationships because they have just seen one depleted in front of them. I also asked Laurel how she felt by making other relationships with other children. She stated that she acted out and only had a few friends that she would play with on the playground, but never felt good enough to bring them home because she didn't want to have to explain to them it was her mom's weekend or her dad's weekend. Next, I will be talking about how they are affected by gender. Girls tend to be more okay in a way that they are still with their mother, so they still have that motherly figure to watch over them. Sons have been reported to be more affected by divorce because the mother is usually awarded custody, and so they are left without the father figure there 24/7. Next, I will talk about the long-term versus the short-term effects on children. I asked Laurel during our interview whether she felt as though she was affected more for the short-term or the long-term. She stated that it should have been short-term, but she feels as though it is long-term because she still has instances this day that she's still affected by the divorce at age 18. She said she would get mad at the smallest things to this day. Long-term effects that are affected by children are they are forced to choose sides, which parent is their favorite, which house they want to go to which weekend. There's also instances where girls, in fact, don't want to get married because they have seen the way the relationship has happened with their parents getting divorced over time. No matter what, the child will feel as though it is their fault. Their behavior is the reason for all the fighting before the divorce and the reason for the divorce actually happening. Divorce is something that can bring obvious effects and can also bring effects that you won't always see. Kids, and anyone for that matter, are not going to want to talk about how their parents are divorced and they have to choose which one they want to live with in some circumstances. Children will need to feel as though they are still loved, so being a friend to someone who is in a divorce might be the only thing they have and will help them get through it. At the end of the interview, I asked Laurel how she felt she was affected. She stated, "I was a kid with the split parents. She couldn't keep a steady relationship, whether that be friends or any relationship for that matter. She was quiet, she was angry, she was tired of going back and forth and keeping track of whose house it was this weekend. She remembers telling her mom, 'I felt like a bag of garbage being taken from one truck and thrown into another, awaiting my final destination at the landfill.' Today I have shared with you how children are affected by divorce based on age and gender, the short-term and long-term effects that come with divorce, and also how they can be affected mentally. No matter what, kids are going to act out to get attention they may not seek at home. No one wants to talk about divorce, but just being there for someone might be all they need to get through it. Divorce is not something we would wish upon anyone, but it is becoming more common in today's society to get out of a relationship someone is not happy in. Divorce is very damaging and often the effects come unnoticed. Thank you for your time."